Hey everyone! So I had a couple of requests in one of my recent videos in my Jet Pens haul video for some swatches and to just do kind of like a first impressions on these new Uni-Ball 1 metallic gel pens, as well as the new opaque white that they are offering in this line. So when I saw that they came out with these, then I was very intrigued and really wanted to try them just because I believe that this might be the first time that they are starting to introduce like a new finish in terms of their ink formulation, and they're advertising that you'll be able to use these on light and dark paper, so I was very interested and wanted to go ahead and try them out. And before I get started, then I do want to note that this will not be a full review on all of the different aspects such as like the packaging and the specifics of the ink formulation, the pricing, etc. If you are curious in that, I do have a full separate video that I posted last year just going into more of those details and going more in depth with all of that information. So I will go ahead and link that here as well as include it in the description box in case you would like to check that out. But today I am just focusing on these two new metallic color sets. So they are both trios, and so they just come with 3 different colors. They are both advertised as metallic colors, although the only one that isn't actually metallic is the white one that they also released as part of this silver, gold, and white set. And I do see here, I'm not sure how well you can see on camera, but for the metallic color set with the blue, green, and pink, it does say up here that it is limited edition. So I'm not sure how long they will be around for. I don't see that to be the case with this set of pens, the one with the silver, gold, and white. So I'll go ahead and open these up and then do a couple of different swatch tests in a few different books that I have, just so that you can kind of get a better idea of how these pens perform on different paper. And I'll of course be showing how they look on blackout paper as well. As some of you may know, my longtime favorite white gel pen is also from Uni-Ball, but it is their Uni-Ball Signo Broad. So it just looks like this. If you are unfamiliar with this or if you've never tried it, then this is extremely pigmented and it writes incredibly smooth. I have sworn by this white gel pen for several years and I always keep it in close proximity so I can easily reach for it and use it whenever I need to. Now my only critique about this is that it is relatively bold. Because it is the broad line, then it does create a very thick line. I believe the nib size is a 1.0 millimeter size, so it is very thick and very bold, which is perfect if you are doodling or highlighting larger areas. However, I have also just kind of been on the hunt for a good quality pigmented, opaque, thinner white gel pen as well. And so what intrigued me the most about this set here is that because it's in the 0.38 millimeter size and it's also from Uni-Ball, I'm very curious to see how well it performs and if it's as pigmented and opaque as the broad size. Now, of course, it won't be as thick, but I think ultimately I would just want it to show up brightly and opaque on darker paper. So I think what I will do when I do the swatches on the dark paper is that I will compare the white to the Uni-Ball Signo Broad. And I'm also curious how it will compare to this Sakura Jelly Roll gel pen that I have in the 0.5 size. I believe that this is supposed to be like a 0.5 millimeter size. And so definitely up until now, it was the thinnest white gel pen that I was able to find. I do think that it works sometimes, but it can be pretty inconsistent. So I would like to compare the new Uni-Ball 1 to this Sakura Jelly Roll and see just how they compare next to each other. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take these out of the packaging. So I'll go ahead and start off with this colored set with the metallic pink, green, and blue. And first off, I'll go ahead and swatch them out in my Sterling Ink Common Planner here. And if you're unfamiliar, then the Sterling Ink Common Planner does include Tomoe River paper. And so because this is my daily carry and the planner that I am in most often this year, then I thought that it would make the most sense to start off with this journal. Alright, so first impressions, I am honestly not a fan of how it writes and also just the way that it appears For some reason, I think because it has like the shimmer bits in the ink formulation and because it's such a fine nib, it seems to feel a lot scratchier compared to the normal Uni-Ball 1 gel pens that I have that don't have the shimmer inside of it. And as you can see on camera, then it just looks incredibly faded and it doesn't look very vibrant. I'm just not crazy about the way that it looks. And honestly, I can hardly even tell if there's any shimmer or glitter in it. I think with the metallic pink, it might be a little bit more noticeable, but it's extremely subtle. It's definitely more difficult to tell on this type of paper, and I'm not sure how well you'll be able to tell on camera, but hopefully the glitter and shimmer particles will be a little bit more pronounced on the black paper. So with that being said, let's go ahead and swatch out the second set with the gold, silver, and white. Alright, so I just kind of got in the zone there and wasn't really paying attention, so I ended up writing metallic white when the white is definitely not metallic. It's supposed to just be kind of like a matte white. So please go ahead and disregard the name if you can see it, which I feel like in person you can see. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera. But anyway, here are the other three colors. I can honestly say that I really love the look of the metallic gold. In person, it definitely looks a lot more metallic and just more vibrant compared to the colored ones from before. The silver, I feel like, is a pretty basic silver. Honestly, just a little indifferent about it. I don't have too many opinions. It does appear to show up on the page, which is a good thing. And then I just went ahead and swatched out the white just to see if it would be able to pop on this type of paper, just because it's not a stark white by any means. This paper is kind of more of like an off-white, almost cream type of color, so I went ahead and just wrote out the white as well. But I do have to say that I am more impressed with the second set of colors compared to the first. I just wasn't that big of a fan of it, but if those are colors that you are looking for and you would see yourself using, then by all means go ahead and pick them up. So I'm very curious to see how these pens perform in the other two journals that I will go ahead and show you now. Alright, so for those of you who are bullet journaling or are using dotted journals such as Archer and Olive and Notebook Therapy, this test will be for you guys who are using dotted journals with 160 GSM paper. So I'll go ahead and just swatch the pens out in this B5 Archer and Olive that I have. And this just has the white paper in it. Alright, so here are the pens swatched out. I do have to say that I definitely preferred the writing experience a lot more on this paper compared to the Tomoe River paper. And I do think that because the page is more of a stark white, then it does allow the colors to shine through more vividly than it did on the Tomoe River paper. I think that is something that you'll want to consider as well if you are planning on picking these up, and just consider what type of journal that you see yourself using these pens in. Again, just taking a look, I would have to say that the metallic gold is perhaps the most impressive one out of all of the metallic shades so far. I think that it just offers more pigmentation and has more of the metallic shimmer in it as well. Alright, so last but not least, but perhaps the most exciting part, let's go ahead and swatch these out in my black dotted journal. Alright, so I will be swatching all of these pens out in my Scribbles That Matter Starry Night Blackout Journal. This has 150 GSM black dotted paper, which is comparable to what you would also get from Archer and Olive, or perhaps even Notebook Therapy, I believe. Wow, so I am quite impressed with how these turned out on the dark paper. I know that the white balance on the camera is probably acting a little bit wonky right now, but hopefully you'll be able to get a good idea of how these appear on black paper. They definitely give off the metallic sheen on the black paper, which was just a little bit more difficult to notice on the lighter paper. However, just taking a look at that first 3-color set with the pink, green, and blue, I personally am just not really a fan of how it looks. I am impressed that it does show up on black paper, but they're just not very colorful, and it's kind of hard to even tell the difference between them. You can definitely tell that one of them is pink, but the green and blue just look a little bit too similar to one another, and then on lighter paper, then they also just appear very washed out. So honestly, I can't really even recommend the colored set with the pink, green, and blue unless those are definitely something that you are looking for. Then I would honestly just pass on these. In terms of the gold, silver, and white, however, I am incredibly impressed with the gold, and I'm honestly quite impressed with how the white performed on the black paper as well. Now, like I promised in the beginning of the video, then I will go ahead and do a quick comparison of the 3 white gel pens that I mentioned. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so here we are with the 3 white gel pens swatched out together. I definitely have to say that they all do appear to work very nicely on black paper. Considering how thin these last 2 nibs are, I don't notice any scratchiness when writing with them, fortunately. And I would say that they're extremely comparable. As you may have noticed when I was swatching out the Sakura Jelly Roll, then it does apply kind of milky at first, but as it dries, then it does develop the color a little bit more. So if you notice that, then definitely don't be discouraged by that. The Uni-Ball one, I felt like applied pretty much similarly to how it looks in the end right off the bat. So there isn't really like a wait time for that to develop. Now, would I say that it's going to replace my Holy Grail Uni-Ball Signo? Definitely not. I do really appreciate how just bright and pigmented the Uni-Ball Signo is, but I would say that the Uni-Ball one would be good if I wanted to do just a little bit of journaling and writing on black paper. The Uni-Ball Signo, I don't necessarily journal with. It's more for if I'm adding highlights to art pieces or hand lettering, or if I make a mistake, like if I write a letter wrong or something while I'm journaling and I don't want to take out my correction tape, then I will go ahead and just cover it up with the Uni-Ball Signo broad. I don't really see that being possible with the Uni-Ball one as well as the Sakura Jelly Roll. Those are more so just for if I actually wanted to journal with or do very intricate doodling with. Alright, well that does it for my first impressions and quick review of the new Uni-Ball 1 metallic color sets. Just as a wrap up, I personally would not recommend the limited edition colored set with the metallic pink, green, and blue. However, I do think that the second set with the metallic gold, metallic silver, as well as the white are definitely worth trying and looking into if you are curious. So that is all for my video today. I hope that you guys found it helpful, and if there are any remaining questions that you have, then please do let me know down below. I would love to get back to you on that. If you do decide to pick up any of these pens, do let me know which ones you are planning to pick up and what your experience is like with them after the fact. And thank you so much to those of you who recommended this video. I truly love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.